Hello, my name is Jackie Rosenthal, and I'm a G Suite Student Innovator, and today I'm going to show you 6 Google Slides features you probably didn't know about. So, tip number 1 is the Snap To feature. This can be found in the View tab, and there are two options. You can either use Guides, or you can use Grid. Now, I believe the default is Guides, so you might be familiar with this one. But basically, this lets you align shapes on your slide so that they match the height and the alignment and things like that. So I can just play around with it, make sure that the shape is in the middle, like that, and so and so forth. Or I can use the grid feature, which makes the shapes move in a step-like fashion, so that you don't have the red lines, but you can pretty much tell when things are aligned. Personally, I like the guides feature better, probably because I'm more familiar with it, but you can use either one. Number 2 is how to insert a pre-made diagram. Now, before I knew this feature existed, I used to always draw timelines with lines, and then I'd have to increase the thickness, and so forth, and it would take quite a while. But now you can just go to Insert, click Diagram, and then you can select a chart or a grid, a hierarchy, timeline, process, relationship, or cycle. So for this example, I'm going to click Timeline, and you can choose even more options. All these timelines you can choose. So I'm going to choose this one. Now, don't let the color deter you from choosing a format you like. You can always change the color, and it's super easy. What you'll do is you'll select the shape you want to change the color of, and then you'll select the new color, and then I can even change the bottom. I'm going to make it dark so that the shadow type pattern still stands, and then I can make this one a different color, and so on and so forth. You can also change the text color and what it says and the spacing and things like that. Tip number 3 is how to skip a slide while presenting. So for this, I want to skip this appendix slide. The reason being may be because I want to not show this appendix slide until I take questions from the audience, because maybe this is just additional information that might support a question they have. Something like that. So there are two ways to skip the slide. You can either right-click over here on the slide and click Skip, or if you're already on the slide, you can go to the Slide tab and click Skip. And so I'm going to show this to make sure it works. So I'm going to go to Present, and then the next slide should be the appendix slide, but we skipped it, so it goes straight to tip number 4. So tip number 4 is how to group and ungroup objects. So let's say that I want all the green terms to stick together, all the purple terms to skip together, and all the red terms to skip together. So I can either individually click them and move them, or I can click the first one, hold down Control, and click the second two, and then move them. However, neither of these two options are the most efficient, because let's say I click off and I want to move this around. But then I realize, oh no, my green terms aren't exactly the way I want them. Well, I have to re-click the first one, then hold down Control again and select the other two. Now, it's not a big deal for 3 terms you want to move together, but let's say you have 50 objects that you want to move together. This becomes super tedious. So the way around that is to select them like I did before, then right-click on the area and click Group. And then you can move them around as one, and then I can click off, move something else, and then come back to it, and it's still a group, and then I can move it together. So this is really an efficient way. Now, number 5 is how to pull up a laser pointer in presentation view. So for this, I'm going to go to View and Present, and then if you see this little ribbon at the bottom, you can click Pointer, and then your mouse turns into a pointer. Now, I don't know how this works with a physical pointer that you may buy from the store and use in your presentation, but if you're presenting off of a laptop or a desktop on a podium, this works really well, and it makes the audience in the far back able to see what you're pointing to. So you can point to this, or this over here, etc. And then when you're done using the pointer, you just click the pointer again, and you're back to your mouse. Now, the last tip, number 6, is how to do live Q&A while presenting. So for this, you're going to reference the same ribbon and click Q&A. And then you can either continue an old poll you might have or start new. So if you start new, you're going to have this new link come up, and you're going to have your audience members type this into their browsers. Once they do that, they can log into their Google account, and then they can ask the presenter questions on their phone. So Joe Schmo can type, "What's your favorite thing about this presentation?" And the presenter will be able to see that. And so if the presenter is only taking questions at the end, Joe Schmo doesn't have to remember the question he wanted to ask. He can simply type it in here, and then when the presenter looks at them, he or she will be able to see what the audience has asked. Another cool thing about this is that Sally might have wanted to ask the exact same question that Joe did, but instead of typing it out the same, she can just go to Joe's question and click like. This way the presenter knows that 2 people wanted that question answered, and if they only have maybe a minute left at the end of their presentation to answer questions, they'll answer the question with the most likes. And then once the presenter's done polling, he or she can click off and disable that feature. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. You can subscribe to my account for more G Suite tutorial and tips videos, and you can comment below with any questions you have, and I'll be sure to answer those as best as I can. Thanks for watching.